Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Bol. Hare Krishna. How are you doing, my dear devotees? I hope you are doing super well. Welcome back again to the spiritual school with yet another video. My name is Spandan, and in today's video we are going to learn about the classification and types of our instruction manual, our Shastras. In our previous video, we have discussed about the definition of Sanatana Dharma. If you have watched and understood that video, now you are ready to know about your instruction manual, that is your Shastras. If you have not watched that video yet, make sure to watch that first, popping up in the I button for better understanding of this video. So without any further ado, let's begin our discussion. Okay. So as usual, let's chant the spiritual invocation mantra first, and then we will dive right into our discussion. Okay? So let's chant the mantra. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Ulmilitangena Tasmai Sri Gurubhe Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manovishtam Sthapitamena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kadatmahayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Shri Uta Patkamalam Sri Guru Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakans Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vindavaneshwari Vijvanu Shute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vansa Kalpataruvyascha Kripa Sindhuvaya Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Galadhara Sri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktivind Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Okay, so I hope you all have chanted this mantra with me. Now let's start. So before starting our presentation and getting into the classification of the Shastras, let us first understand the meaning of two words. The first word is Shastra and the second word is Ved. The word Shastra comes from the root word Shas, which means rule or instructions. The root Sanskrit word Shas is the basis for the words like Shasanam, meaning the ruling, and Shastha or Shasak, meaning the ruler. A Shastra is a set of rules or principles that governs any given subject. Like, for example, a set of basic instructions on cooking is Pak Shastra. A set of rules for building inhabitations is Vastu Shastra, and so on. Our second word is Ved. The word Ved comes from the root word Vid, which literally means to know or to understand, or the repository, the reservoir of knowledge. This is the root sound from which words like Vidya, Vidyan and Vidushi come from. The literal meaning of the word Veda is just knowledge. Knowledge of what? Knowledge of anything and everything in existence. This is the context in which it is said that Ananta vai Vedaha, meaning the systems of knowledge in Veda are infinite. And this is the reason why India is known as Vedabhumi, the land of knowledge, which is the ancient name of India. Because the Vedas were revealed from the ancient India, and not only that, India had shared the gift of Vedas with the world. It is continuing to share this gift of transcendental knowledge with the entire world.
Now we have just learned that Veda means knowledge, and all of such systems of knowledge could be classified into two different categories. In the first category, we have those systems of knowledge which are thought up and created through human intellect and are known as Paurushaya, that is created by man. And in the second category, we have those that are perceived and realized by the human mind and are known as Apaurushaya, or not created by man.
The first category includes knowledge systems like the creation and use of various tools of survival like hunting and farming tools, tools to enhance the external sense perceptions, and methods to make life more secure and comfortable. It also includes knowledge systems like the rules of societal behavior and function, the responsibilities and duties between the individual components of a family, of a society, and so on. And then there are knowledge systems which are existential, like how the creation came about, how life functions within the human body and outside it, the relationship between creatures and the forces of creation, the purpose and possibilities that this relationship comes with, and so on. While the first kind of knowledge systems are subject to change with the times one lives in and the society around, the second kind of knowledge systems stay valid and true irrespective of societal structures and the need of the time. It is fixed, it remains unchanged, it is eternal, Sanatanam. This is the knowledge which is not a product of the human mind. We might perceive it and put it to use, but it is not a product of human thought, intellect, or imagination. This is the context in which these systems of knowledge are called as apaurushaya or not man-made. The son of sage Parashara, called Krishna Dvaipayana Vyasa, took all these apaurushayas and classified them into four broad groups, which we call them as four Vedas. Meaning our Shastras or Vedas are apaurushaya or not man-made. Now these apaurushayas or our Shastras can be further divided into 7 broad categories, and these 7 broad categories of Indian scriptures hold the entire knowledge system. They are Shrutis, Smritis, Itihas, Puran, Agamam, Darshan and Siddhantam. Now let's talk about them one by one. The first one we have is Shruti. Shruti is well known with the name Vedas. The word Shruti literally means to hear, or the knowledge which have been heard, the knowledge which have been learnt through hearing. It is named so because the Vedic philosophy was only available in verbal form. It was spoken by the Guru, the spiritual master, and heard and learned by the disciples, the Shishyas, and this speaking, hearing, learning process was going on till the appearance of Vyasadeva. It was by Shruti system through which this transcendental knowledge was coming down through disciplic succession or Guru Shishya Parampara. It is very amazing to note that the people at that time, in that age, used to have so sharp memory that just by hearing once, they could learn and remember it for the rest of their life. They did not need any pencil, pen, notebook like us to study. But as the time passed by and this age of ignorance, that is Kali Yuga, came, we lost that sharpness of our memory. We can now hardly remember anything. We hear something and we forget it the next moment. We can't even remember what we ate a week ago at lunch. So for us who belong to the Kali Yuga, it would be very helpful if we have the notes of our knowledge. If with a pen and paper I write down what I eat today, I can refer it 1 week later and say to people that I ate that a week ago. So notes enhances our memory. It reserves our memory, our knowledge, and whenever we forget, we can refer the notes. Vyasadeva knew this. As he was Trikaldarshi, that is knower of the past, present and future, he knew that we, the people of the great Kali Yuga, suffer from short-term memory loss. We have limited memory, limited knowledge and limited lifespan due to many diseases and accidents causing untimely death. So, to assist our memory, he noted the entire Vedic philosophy down. He compiled them all for us so that we can refer it any time when required. And compiling the entire Vedic philosophy was a monumental task, and by this you can understand the greatness of Srila Vyasadeva. Because of this mammoth task of understanding all the Aparushayas and then classifying them into 4 distinct categories, Krishna Dvaipayana Vyasa is famously known by the name of Veda Vyasa, the one who described the Vedas. Every year the brightest full moon night called Guru Purnima is also remembered by the name of Vyasa Purnima in his memory. Shruti consists of the Vedas, Upavedas and Vedangas. Let's understand them one by one. The first we have are Vedas. Now you might know that we have 4 Vedas: Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Sama Veda and Atharva Veda. Let's understand them one by one and see what are their main topics. Rig Veda. There are 4 Vedas, among which the first is called as Rig Veda. Rig means praise, a form of expressing gratitude. It is a compilation of various hymns, each of which is called as Rig, which means descriptive words of praise. It explains in various hymns praising the elements of the nature and cosmos. The hymns of the Rig Veda describe and praise the properties of various natural elements around us, giving them personified forms of Agni, Indra, Mitra, Varuna, Soma and so on. A special emphasis is given to the adoration of the God, demigods and Paramatma, the Supreme Soul. It talks about suktas, meaning the praises of that Supreme Absolute Truth. For example, the first shloka of the first sukta of the first mandala of Rig Veda is dedicated to Lord Agni, the demigod of fire, and it is as follows. Agni mile purohitam yagyasya devam radvijam hotaram ratnadhatanam, whose translation is as follows. I pray to you, Agni, the prime tattva of Paramatma, the Supreme Lord, by performing this Vedic yagna or ritual. You, Agni, were there before there was anything. With you, Agni, the creation started. You are the giver of everything. I pray to you, Agni, in all days, in every season. You, Agni, sustain all creation and will consume it when the end comes. It is because of you, Agni, that we get all the beautiful things of life. You are the source of everything beautiful. This was the first shloka of Rig Veda, which praises Agni Dev or the demigod of fire. Yajur Veda. The second classification is called as Yajur Veda, where the word Yajur or Yajus literally means a practice, ritual or worship. This Veda is a realization of the power of performing rituals. It explains different procedures of worship of the nature and cosmos. It consists of instruction as to how to conduct various kinds of sacrificial rituals, which are conducive to specific aspects of human well-being. In terms of textual content, it shares a lot of hymns in common with the Rig Veda. Sama Veda. The third classification is called as the Sama Veda, where the word Sama literally means a gentle song. This Veda talks about chanting mantras. It is a realization of the power of musical notes. It dwells into the utterance of specific chants to a set tune and gives a music-driven canonical format to other Vedas for ease of recitation. This Veda is seen as the origin for the field of Sangita or music in Sanatana Dharma. This Veda too shares a lot of common text with the Rig Veda, but in a more practical context of chanting it as a song. Atharva Veda. The fourth and the final categorization is called as Atharva Veda, where the word Atharva means stable mind. It has a lot of content which is unique from the rest of the 3 Vedas, but the realizations contained within it as perceived by the sage Atharvan are still apaurushayam or not made up in the human mind. This Veda deals with the knowledge of handling life at a more physical level of existence, as it sets the rules for a steady state daily life activities like how to deal with discomfort and diseases, what is considered as wealth in human life, how to acquire, consume and disseminate it, and so on are its dealings. As this Veda talks about natural herbs curing diseases, etc., it is also known as magical Veda. Now it is very interesting to note that before the arrival of Srila Vyasadeva, there was only one book known as Veda. That is, there was only one book of Veda. But after he came, he divided that one book into 4 parts. what we know today as the four Vedas for the ease of our understanding. Sections of the Vedas. Just like a house has many rooms inside or a question paper has many sections inside, similarly, if we look into these four Vedas, each of the four Vedas can be thought of as having four fundamental blocks or sections: Samhita, Brahmana, Aranyak and Upanishad, supported by six external blocks: Siksha, Vyakaran, Chand, Nirukta, Jyotisha and Kalpa. Let's understand them one by one. Let us first see the four internal blocks. Each of the four internal blocks of Vedas, Samhita, Aranyak, Brahmana and Upanishad, describes theosophical, philosophical and psychological anatomy of the cosmos, nature and the fundamentals of human existence or existence of life in general. In simple words, it describes Brahman, which means the ultimate and the supreme power of existence. The four internal blocks of Vedas in detail are as follows. The first one is Samhita, the compilation of all the realized hymns. The second one is Brahmana, explanations of how to put the Samhita section to practical use. The third one is Aranyak, various internal observances one needs to follow. And the fourth one is Upanishad, which are the footnotes which capture the essence of the entire Vedas. Each of these four components are meant to be used for application in each of the four stages of one's lives, called as the ashramas. The Samhita section is the object of focus for someone in Brahmachari ashram or during the stage of educational upbringing. The Brahmana section is of use to someone in Grihastha ashram during one's life as a householder, as vital component of the society to put whatever has been learnt in Samhitas to practical use. The Aranyak section is supposed to be put to practice during Vanprastha ashram, during one's withdrawal away from the society into a secluded area for spiritual pursuits, and finally, the Upanishad section is said to be of practical use during Sannyasa ashram, where one renounces the worldly pursuits in search of the absolute truth of creation. Now, let us see the six external blocks which are known as Vedangas. Various tools and methodologies to understand the knowledge of the Vedas have been authorized by many sages. They are named as Vedangas and are classified under six categories: Shiksha, Vyakarana, Chanda, Nirukta, Jyotisha and Kalpa. Each of these six external blocks of Vedas complements the knowledge framework of Vedas with different and intricate specializations each. They are as follows. Siksha, study of phonetics, the study of phonetic aspects and accents of the Vedic chants. Kalpa, the study of rituals. Vyakarana, the study of grammatical rules. Nirukta, the study of intuitive etymology of Sanskrit words. Etymology is the study of the origin of words and the way in which their meanings have changed throughout the history. Then we have Chanda, the study of poetic meter and linguistic rhythm. Jyotisha, the study of astronomy. Now, let's move on to Upavedas. Each Veda is also ascribed to an Upaveda or a subsystem of knowledge dealing with different branches of ancient Indian education in different fields, which is born out of the revelations contained in the Veda. We have four Upavedas: Ayurveda, Dhanurveda, Gandharva Veda and Arthashastra. Let's talk about them one by one. Ayurveda, the study of Ayu, life itself, is ascribed to Rig Veda. Dhanurveda, the study of archery and warfare, is ascribed to Yajurveda. Gandharva Veda, the study of aesthetics, music and dance, is ascribed to Samaveda. Arthashastra, the study of the pursuit of wealth and prosperity, is ascribed to Atharva Veda. Now with this, the topic of Shruti ends here. Now let's move on to our next topic, that is Smriti. Smriti means memory, meaning which is remembered. At ancient times there was no system of taking notes. So whatever acharyas used to say, the disciples remembered that and later they used to catalogue it as journals. These journals are the Smritis. So we can say that Smritis are authored by sages and saints who mastered Shruti and brought in their experiences and revelations. Smriti is much like a thesis by the sages on different branches of study like theology, philosophy, science, etc. and it completely subserves to Shruti, which is the final authority.
There are 20 Smritis explaining different branches of knowledge that's from Shruti, but here in a more practical approach. And they are Atri Smriti, Vishnu Smriti, Harita Smriti, Ausanasi Smriti, Angirasa Smriti, Yama Smriti, Apastamba Smriti, Samvarta Smriti, Katyayana Smriti, Manu Smriti, Brihaspati Smriti, Parashara Smriti, Vyasa Smriti, Sankhya Smriti, Likhita Smriti, Daksha Smriti, Gautama Smriti, Stapata Smriti, Vasishta Smriti, and Yagyavalkasya Smriti. Now, with that, the topic of Smriti also ends here. Now, let's move on to our next topic, that is Puran. Puran is a 10-dimensional documentation about history explaining various events of the past. And those 10 dimensions are Sarga, the history of creation of cosmos, Visarga, history of creation of worlds, Vritti, history of evolution of life, Raksha, history of sustenance of life, Antarani, history of time scale, Vamsa, history of lineage, Vamsanucharita, history of dynasties, Sangstha, history of catastrophes, Hetu, history of prime causes, and Apasaraha, history of supreme being.
Now, there are 18 Puranas, all written by just one sage, Srila Vedvyas, and they are Vishnu Puran, Narada Puran, Bhagavata Puran, Garuda Puran, Padma Puran, Varaha Puran, Brahma Vaivarta Puran, Markandeya Puran, Bhavishya Puran, Brahmanda Puran, Vamana Puran, Brahma Puran, Matsya Puran, Kurma Puran, Linga Puran, Shiv Puran, Skanda Puran, and Agni Puran. Now, out of these 18 Puranas, these 6 Puranas are known as Satvik Purana and glorify Lord Vishnu. These 6 Puranas are known as Rajasic Purana and glorify Lord Brahma. And these 6 Puranas are known as Tamasic Purana and glorify Lord Shiva. From these 18 Puranas, 200 Upapuranas are derived that glorify Goddess Saraswati and Pitras. Now with that, the topic of Purana also ends here. Let's move on to our next topic, and that is Itihas. Itihas spells as Itihasa, which literally means this is how it happened. Itihasa means history. Itihasas are historical records of highest order and have been influencing the ethos of India since time immemorial. They are eternal. They always were, they are, and they always will be there. There are 2 Itihasas and they are very famous, and I am very sure that you have heard their name as well. These 2 Itihasas are Ramayanam and Mahabharatam. And we have Bhagavad Gita as the part of Mahabharatam. The epitome of Indian scriptures, Bhagavad Gita, is not a separate text. It is an integral part of Mahabharatam. The chapters 25 to 42 of Bhishma Parva of Mahabharatam is nothing but the 18 chapters of Bhagavad Gita. Now these 2 Itihasas, Ramayana and Mahabharata, they are so important that they are referred to as the 5th Veda or Pancham Veda, indicating their importance. Now with that, the topic of Itihasa also ends here. Let's move on to our next topic, and that is Agamam. Agamas are treatises on theology, epistemology, and also describes architectural and geometrical principles for temple constructions. Basically, they are the rule books of how a temple needs to be constructed and the rituals in the temples to be organized. All the astounding beauty of Indian temple architecture and sculptures, the magnificent grandeur of the Indian temples, and the exquisite carvings that we have on the Indian temples are governed by agamas even today. The source code of all the beauty of the Indian temples is from agamas. For instance, Shilpa Shastra, the branch of knowledge that deals with sculpting, is from agamas. Now we have three types of agamas: Shaiva agamas, Vishnu or Vaishnava agamas, and Shakti agamas. Now there are 28 Shaiva agamas, 200 Vishnu or Vaishnava agamas, and 77 Shakti agamas. Now with that, the topic of agama also ends. Let's move on to the next topic, that is Darshan Shastras. There are 6 Darshan Shastras called the 6 schools of philosophy, and they are Sankhya, Yoga, Mimamsa, Nyaya, Vaisheshik, and Vedanta. Let's talk about them one by one. The first one is Purva Mimamsa by sage Jaimini, and it talks about the correct understanding of Vedas. The second and third one is Nyaya by sage Gautama and Vaisheshik by sage Kanad, and they talk about right and wrong, about Nyaya, justice. The next one is Sankhya by Bhagavan Kapil, and it talks about Maya, that how this sansar is a Maya and we must give it up and return to divine. Yoga by sage Patanjali talks about how to attain the supreme physically and spiritually. And the last one is Uttara Mimamsa, which is also known as Brahma Sutra or Vedanta Sutra by Bhagavan Vedvyas, and it talks about absolute divinity. All the 6 Darshan Shastras are in Sutra form. Now with that, the topic of Darshan Shastras also ends. Let's move on to our next and our final topic, that is Siddhantam. Siddhantam means principles. Siddhantas are established principles in different branches of science. For example, just in the field of astronomy and cosmology, there are 18 Siddhantas, and they are Surya Siddhanta, Pitamaha Siddhanta, Vyasa Siddhanta, Vasishta Siddhanta, Atri Siddhanta, Parasara Siddhanta, Kasyapa Siddhanta, Narada Siddhanta, Garga Siddhanta, Maricha Siddhanta, Manu Siddhanta, Angirasa Siddhanta, Lomasa Siddhanta, Paulisa Siddhanta, Chaivana Siddhanta, Yavana Siddhanta, Vrigu Siddhanta, and Saunaka Siddhanta. They describe different details about planetary motion, geometrical principles, trigonometry, calculus, and a lot more. In this category, we have a huge set of scriptures in the fields of science and technology. Now with that, the topic of division of our Shastras ends here, and hence the video also ends here. Now, before ending the video, I will request all the devotees and viewers watching this video to share this video as much as you can, because I have seen that people have very less knowledge about their own Shastras, and they also don't get the scope of learning them as well. And that's why I have made this video, to make them aware about their own Shastras, and that's why I request you to share and let them know and help them know about their own Shastras. Hare Krishna. If you liked this video, give a thumbs up, share this video with others as much as you can. If you have any questions, comment down below. And if you wanna be the first to get the updates of my latest videos, subscribe to this channel. And if you like this kind of videos and wanna know more about our instruction manual, that is our Sanatana Dharma, check the link down below where you will get a short 13-hour course on Srimad Bhagavat Gita, where the summary of the Srimad Bhagavat Gita is described in a nutshell, from where you can learn the entire summary of the Srimad Bhagavat Gita very easily, very quickly, and absolutely free. So what are you waiting for? Click the link down below right now. Learn Bhagavad Gita and also help others to learn as well. So with that note, I am ending my video here. Stay well, stay healthy, stay happy, and keep rendering service unto the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord Krishna. See you in the next video. Till then, Hare Krishna.